This is the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping our show on May the 8th, 2015. Our time is 8:46 Mountain. And it's Mother's Day on Sunday. We say Happy Mother's Day to all the moms. My mother is over on holiday with my sister in good old Ireland, having an outstanding time. Don't forget, if you ever miss our radio show, obviously it runs live on 6:30 CHED, Sunday at 3. And we are archived, too, on Harold's two websites, HESradio.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. We have a podcast through iTunes. All you need to do is have iTunes on your portable device. Type in the World Financial Report on Radio. You'll find us there. You can subscribe to the podcast. We are portable. We go anywhere you do. Connect with Harold at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. The telephone number 1-800-432-1022, our featured Diamond of the Week. It is a beautiful, beautiful ring, 2.35 carat, fancy yellow round, brilliant VS1 ring. You can see it at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Click on Featured Diamond of the Week. We have video of the ring there. It is stunning. Very busy week in Canada. Now, the jobs report came out for Canada, and we lost around 20,000 jobs, 19,700. The unemployment rate stayed at 6.8%. A lot of it had to do with Target shutting down in Canada and the shutdown of Future Shop. In the United States, they gained 223,000 jobs, and they had an unemployment rate at 5.4%. They have a record 93 million people not working in the United States. In our free weekly newsletter, you can get it from Harold, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, or call 1-800-432-1022. There's a story from John Crudell, the New York Post. Beware the phantom new jobs hoax. We've talked about this in the past, where basically the numbers in the United States, we have to be honest, they're really almost borderline made up. This week in the news as well, in Alberta, the NDP, we have a majority NDP government. The Tories out after 44 years. In Britain, they have a Tory majority government. In Denmark, they are wanting to move towards a cashless society. They have proposed that they will move towards no cash. Also, Janet Yellen coming out and citing that there are potential dangers in the U.S. stock market. Valuations are very high. Bill Gross says the bond bull supercycle is coming to an end. In Venezuela, they raised the minimum wage 30% to help workers hit by raging inflation. Also, they're having trouble in Venezuela keeping the lights on. In Australia, they lowered interest rates to 2%. And one of the interesting quotes we have in our newsletter this week is from Steve Wynn. And he's the chairman of the board and CEO of Wynn Resorts in Las Vegas. If you were to ask me, since we're making forward-looking statements, what will the second quarter look like in Las Vegas? Weak. Do you hear me? Weak. So I'm trying to lower expectations here. This notion of a big recovery is a complete dream. I don't think Las Vegas is experiencing a great recovery. I think it's still very patchy. And I think that's probably our non-casino revenue in the first quarter. That's the reason why it was flat. I'd be thrilled if it was flat in the second quarter. That according to Steve Wynn. News coming out from Steve, things are not great on the economy in the United States. Also a quote this week from Frank Holmes. We've heard this before from Ted Butler. According to various sources, J.P. Morgan has accumulated more than 55 million ounces of physical silver over the past few years. The company has been buying up the metal and added more than 8 million ounces during the past couple of weeks alone. One reason for this could be that J.P. Morgan sees a potential stock market collapse ahead with a subsequent surge in gold and silver prices. Another speculation is that J.P. Morgan has been holding a short market corner in COMEX silver futures, which has depressed prices artificially, allowing them to buy physical silver at sharply declining prices. That according to Frank Holmes of USA Funds. Harold, it was a very busy week, but jobs numbers coming out of the United States, ADP, they came out a few days ago and said they didn't think there would be a good jobs number. They did have a fairly, I would say a mediocre jobs number, but as John Crudell has said, the numbers are cooked, and there's not much we can do about it. We have to live with it, but the numbers are just not accurate coming out of the United States.
No, and they haven't been for a long, long time. In actual fact, the producer of our show, Mark, sent me an article on Monday, and it basically said that this was going to happen, that all these phantom jobs were going to show up. Nobody knows what these jobs actually were. And sure enough, the report was right on the button, and exactly what they said was going to happen on Monday happened today. Right now, the Dow Jones is up 260 points on these bogus numbers. These jobs don't even exist. It's an unbelievable thing. It really is. I mean, to rally a market based on false information, that's why it's so important to get the newsletter and to really understand what's going on so you don't get lulled into a false sense of security. You know, many times prior to or when stock markets have plummeted in the past in 1999, in 2008, and all the other years that has happened, it's because people don't get the right information. And they believe what's happening on the media, and they just go along like sheep and say, well, if this is what's going on, I'm just going to jump on the bandwagon. And we've seen too many times that it's the general public, it's the later traders that get involved that get their heads handed to them. The markets end up plummeting. They end up losing all their money because they don't have the right information. That's why I stress it's important to get this newsletter every week. We don't charge anything for it. Randy works tremendously hard to put this together, and it's loaded with the information you need in order to at least give you the information you need for an intelligent business decision. Because there is no doubt that what's happening in the world today is mostly greed. And the fact is that what Randy just brought up about J.P. Morgan was behind silver falling all this time. Every time there's been a short position in the market, a massive short position in the market in silver, it's primarily been J.P. Morgan that's been in it or is making it happen. And basically, we have seen times when silver has absolutely plummeted with no reason whatsoever except that they played games in the futures markets. What they would do is they would short the futures market in gold and silver overseas in the early morning when nobody is even really paying attention or trading. And then what they do is they place these sell orders just below the market, so when the market opens up in New York, these prices get hit, the market falls, and it starts to free fall because there's so many short positions below the market. I know it sounds complicated, but this is exactly what's happening. Now this report comes out and said that they own, what did you say, Randy, 55 million ounces of silver?
That's what they're saying, 55 million ounces.
Well, how in the world does that go without the CFTC knowing that this is going on? What they basically did is manipulated the market down where people that were in the market for the right reason lost their money, and the company that's going to greatly benefit from this is a company that made this all happen. It's an unbelievable thing to think that an article like this has come out and nobody has ever even said or investigated into this. If they own 55 million ounces of physical silver, they manipulated the market in order to get the prices so low that they're able to buy it at a great price. So this should be a very bullish situation for us. Why would J.P. Morgan, one of the biggest banks in the world, why would they be so negative on silver for all this time, talk down the price, bring down the price, set up the market so it falls, and then we find out that they bought 55 million ounces of silver? And the positive thing about this is, as much skullduggery is going on, is that they bought it for a reason. If they didn't think that silver was going to go back up, then they wouldn't have bought 55 million ounces of silver. And then on top of that, how much is that market going to go up? Because in all reality, back in 2011 when silver hit $50 and gold hit $1,900, it was for a specific reason. Gold went up and silver went up for the right reasons, technically and fundamentally. We know why gold and silver fell. It was made to fall because of the tremendous amount of outstanding futures and ETF contracts. That's what made the silver market and gold market fall. It didn't fall on its own. It didn't fall because all of a sudden speculators and hedgers felt that gold and silver was not a good investment. It certainly was. We just went through 2008 and 2009, and gold was one of the only markets in silver that was up at that point. That's when they hit the record prices. So again, I'm looking at this as a very bullish situation. Not that I condone playing in the market and controlling and manipulating the market. I certainly don't. I think that's the worst thing in the world for any free market. But what I am looking at is that this is a very positive thing. If J.P. Morgan, the bank that has really been behind all of this skullduggery and manipulation and everything, ended up with 55 million ounces of silver, don't you think that if they drop the market down, they can make the market rally? All they have to do is do the exact opposite of what they did when they wanted the market to go down, because they obviously want silver prices to increase if they own 55 million ounces of it physically. So basically, if the average price for silver has been, let's say, $10 over the last, well, it has to be more than $10. The average price right now is sitting in the $15 to $20 range. Basically, do the math on that. How much money did they spend to buy 55 million ounces of silver? And if they were capable of dropping the market lower in order to take advantage of this, they can do the exact same thing on the upside. All they would have to do is go into the markets early in the morning like they did when they were shorting it and buy positions. And then when the New York markets open up in the morning, there's a big gap and these orders get filled and all these buy orders are above the market, and next thing you know, the market is flying. Now, the fact is that these markets are easily manipulated because you're not talking about markets that have gigantic volume. There's not a lot of volume in gold and silver, especially at this particular time. So, again, I'm still a firm believer in gold and silver. I own a large amount of it personally myself. I always have. I don't trade it. I don't buy it and sell it based on supply and demand or technical situations of the market. I buy it and hold it because there's substantial situations out there that should make this market rally very strong, and we should all make an awful lot of money from it. If you don't own it physically, if you own paper gold and silver, you're not going to see the same thing. You'll probably be out of the market before this market makes its rally. So again, when the time is right, you want to own physical gold and silver. The reason that I'm saying over the short term that gold is going to drop to maybe 1,100, maybe even 1,000. It wouldn't kill me if the market hit those levels because I'm not leveraged and I own it physically. So basically, the reason that I feel gold and silver over the short term is going to fall is primarily because of what's happening in the currency market. So basically, and we talked about this several times over the last few months, is that when the U.S. dollar is strong, the gold market is weak. The opposite is true. When the gold market is strong, it's primarily because the U.S. dollar has weakened. It's a similar situation in other parts of the world, but let's talk about Canada because we're Canadians. The fact is that when oil prices are strong, the Canadian dollar is strong. When oil prices are weak, the Canadian dollar is weak, and you can almost see that almost every day in the market when crude oil is down, the Canadian dollar is down, and that's what's happening again today. So again, we do feel that even though crude oil has rallied to around $60, it's trading at 58 and change today, that we are going to see another downturn in the oil market. I do believe that crude oil has got to go lower before it's going to go higher. The reason that crude oil went from $35 to $60 was because of speculation, nothing to do with all of a sudden they were bullish on oil again. They're not. So the bottom line is that we do anticipate that the price of crude will fall again, and we do anticipate on top of that the U.S. dollar is going to continue to rally. Now, it's had problems breaking above the par level. We've seen that over the past 3-4 weeks. Every time it gets to par, it sells off, and this week was pretty well the same. Got up to around the 97, 96 cent level, and the market fell back. It's at 94, 95, 95 right now. So we do anticipate that the U.S. dollar will strengthen over the near term. That's what's going to push gold lower. At that point, when we say so, that's when we want to go out and buy physical gold and silver. And now that we have this new information that J.P. Morgan now owns 55 million ounces of silver, that should make us feel much better about what we are doing and what we're going to do within the foreseeable near future. There's a reason why some of the top experts in the world believe that gold is going to not only break 2,000, go to 5, 10, or 15,000. And as extreme as that sounds, it's only because of the extreme situations in the world markets. We got Greece going bankrupt. We got Europe in huge problem. We got the euro in massive problems. Again, it did go down to as low as 105, 106. It's at 110 right now. But again, the euro seems to be doomed. How would you like to be the people in Greece, have all your money in euros, and then find out what's going to happen? You have got to go back on your old currency, and now you're going to lose 2/3 of your net worth. That's what the currency markets can do to you and do for you if you don't know what you're doing. So, again, we're very positive that we are heading in the right direction as far as our investment advice is going. Right now we're trading in a range. We need to see something substantial happen in the markets, and that could happen just after the summer. The summers are normally very slow. I do anticipate that during the summer that the price of oil will back off unless, and I say unless, there's a hurricane. If a hurricane hits in the Gulf of Mexico, then you're going to see oil prices rally because all the refineries will be in trouble and they could break down. And again, we're going to see issues there. But obviously, we haven't seen a hurricane in the last 3, 4, 5 years, and that hasn't affected the price of oil in that matter. So again, at this point here, as of today, taping the show, we are saying that gold's trading right now at around 1185. It's been down to 1180. There's support in the market at 1180 in gold. The next level, which is minor support, is 1163, 1150, 11 and a quarter, then 1100. Again, if the U.S. dollar continues to strengthen, we anticipate that the gold market will back off, not get in trouble, but back off. The market's held in there and has traded in a range for the last few years. We need to see a breakout, but before that happens, we do think that the market is going to flush out. And that's basically what's happening in the marketplace at this point. Silver's trading right at around 1645. We do believe that the silver market will back off also. We see the low in gold at around 1,000, possibly, no guarantee it's going to get there. And if it does, silver should be at about $12.50, $13. But again, J.P. Morgan owns 55 million ounces of silver. That should tell us something. We watch the currency markets very, very closely. And again, at this point here, with the Dow being up 245 points, it means absolutely nothing. There was nothing that happened today that warrants the Dow Jones being up 245 points, except for a bogus report that came out today that we already knew about 5 days ago. That's how crazy things are, Randy. So again, we believe that we're in the right business at the right time. All we want is for the listeners to our show, for our clients and friends, to make the right decision. And the right decision is to be out of the paper asset market and into the hard asset market, the alternative asset market. You don't want to be in stocks because we've seen it happen before. And something is coming up within the very, very foreseeable near future that will impact the whole U.S. economy, the currency markets, the stock markets, and everything here in the United States. And that's basically going to be whether or not the Federal Reserve decides to raise interest rates or not raise interest rates. And the bottom line is that if they don't raise interest rates, the feeling is that there's going to be quantitative easing 4. If that's the case, then you want to load up, because we've seen what QE 1, 2, and 3 has done for the gold market before. QE 4 coming in when they expect the exact opposite will send the price of gold skyrocketing. So, again, there's certainly situations in the market at this point that are very beneficial for the markets that we're in. And, again, no matter how the markets have been reacting for the last couple of years, which, again, we've been seeing trading in a range and has not been exciting, and we're not making money in gold right now, but again, we don't buy gold to trade it. We buy it as a hedge against inflation. And don't you think that the people in Venezuela would love to have owned gold as a hedge against inflation now that they can't even afford to electricity in their home? It's an unbelievable time around the world. Not only is Venezuela going through this, but Russia's going through this, Iran is going through this, and a lot of other countries. Greece is going through financial issues. So, again, all is not as it seems, and you've got to be smart about this. If you're in your 50s, 60s, or 70s, you cannot afford to lose your money at this particular point. And the markets are just not right at this point. Again, I think that Las Vegas is an excellent barometer as to how the overall financial situation and corporate situation is going in the United States. Because Las Vegas, when things are good, it is definitely the conference, capital of the world. More companies have their conferences in Las Vegas and shows in Las Vegas than anywhere else. And it's just not happening at this point. So if the economy is getting that much better and everything is looking so great and employment is down to 5.4%, why is Las Vegas not doing well? And that's a barometer as to how things are going. I can assure you, friends and ladies and gentlemen that listen to our show, we're right about what we're talking about. It's only a matter of time until these markets respond to what they're going through. And again, I just can't get it out of my mind, the report that Randy brought to us today. J.P. Morgan, the company that we know, has been behind manipulating the gold and silver market all this time, now owns physically 55 million ounces of silver. That's an unbelievably bullish situation for us. Then on top of that, we also know that China and Russia is buying every ounce of gold that they could possibly get. So who says that we're not in the right market at the right time? I believe when this market starts to run, and it could be quantitative easing 4 that sets this market skyrocketing because nobody's paying attention to the gold and silver market right now, and they should be, because this market's getting ready to run again. It could be 3, 4, 5 months from now, but this market is getting ready to run again.
Our featured diamond of the week from rarecoloreddiamonds.com is a 2.35 carat fancy yellow round brilliant VS1 ring. Get our free weekly newsletter. You can see a picture of the diamond in our free weekly newsletter. Even better, go to rarecoloreddiamonds.com, click on Featured Diamond of the Week, and if you're interested in investing, call Harold. He'll speak with you personally and privately about investing in hard assets, diamonds, gold, and silver. 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022, Harold's website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. We have an article that is a must-read in our free weekly newsletter. It's by Jeff Clark from Casey Research. Buy silver or you will die. And obviously it's a little bit of a joke, but he says silver is essential to modern life, and the uses for silver are being added on a daily basis. Read that article. It is a must-read. And Jeff Clark has also written an article about gold and how there are no new mines being developed for gold, and the mines that are currently in place are being depleted. Get those articles. Get them from Harold at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, or call us at 1-800-432-1022 about our featured Diamond of the Week. And if you would like to find out more about the quotes that we have from Steve Wynn, or obviously from Frank Holmes from USA Funds about J.P. Morgan and the silver, read our free weekly newsletter. Connect with Harold at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022 to receive your free copy. Going to come back and talk about diamonds as the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall, continues right after this. Welcome back to the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping our show on May the 8th, 2015. Our time is 9:12 Mountain. We say Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, including my mother. Our radio show, you can obviously hear the show on 6:30 CHED, Sundays at 3. If you ever miss a show or would like to go back and maybe you missed something during the live broadcast, like to go back and hear it again, go to Harold's 2 websites. The show is streaming live there, rarecoloreddiamonds.com and HESradio.com. We have a podcast through iTunes. Type in The World Financial Report on Radio, and you will find us there. We are portable. We're on your portable device anywhere you go when you have iTunes. Connect with Harold at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022. Harold is always very generous with his time. Happy to speak with you at any point. And he would be happy to talk to you about our featured diamond this week. It's a 2.35 carat fancy yellow round brilliant VS1 ring. 2.35 carat fancy yellow round brilliant VS1 ring. Go to rarecoloreddiamonds.com, click on featured diamond of the week. You can see, and it is a stunning diamond ring. You can see the ring in video form there. We have a picture of it in our free weekly newsletter. Next week, we will have auction results for you. Sotheby's to auction off an extremely rare pink diamond and a blood red ruby in Geneva on May the 12th. And we're quite excited about obviously the main diamond, the rare pink diamond, being auctioned off, as it has quite a history behind it. In fact, Napoleon's niece supposedly had ownership of it at one point in time. So we're looking forward to finding out exactly what that goes for next week, and we will have auction results for you from Geneva, and that will be on the next show. Harold, our featured diamond of the week, though, what a stunning, beautiful ring it is. This is something that is obviously wealth, but you can wear it. And as we always like to joke, when you walk into a room with a stock certificate on your finger, you don't quite get the attention you do. If you have a diamond ring, you get a lot more attention.
I would certainly say so, and if you had this one, you would get a ton of attention, believe me, because there's just something about a round yellow diamond. They're so rare. Very, very few exist. There's not another diamond like it. And just underneath that, I mean, the rounds can be double any other price of a yellow diamond because they're so difficult to cut. And the fact is that a cutter will only cut a round diamond if it's going to be near perfect. Because, again, he could easily cut a cushion cut or an oval, which is easier to cut because there's less loss of the actual diamond. But if the diamond is going to be something special, and this particular one is, you want to make it round. And the rounds are just very, very valuable and absolutely gorgeous. And this one is one of my favorites. It's not a flawless diamond because there's not a lot of flawless round yellows available anymore. Whenever they would come out, I have about 3 or 4 clients that bought them up the second that they would hit the market. That's how valuable they are, and over the longer term will more than likely go up more than almost any other cut of diamond will. So just absolutely love the diamond. It's magnificent. There's a video of it on rarecoloreddiamonds.com, so take a look at it. And again, it's over 2 carats. It's a 2.35, and it absolutely sparkles. So basically, you're looking at only one diamond in 15 million is over 2 carats, and I can assure you very, very few of them compared to this one. But overall, you know, when we talk about the investment market, it's the alternative assets that a lot of people with money are looking to now. Because, again, they're getting concerned about what's happening in the markets. Wealthy people understand when there's things happening in the market. They understand the economy. They understand, you know, why would a Dow be at 18,000 with such a poor economy and you know, manipulation in the markets type of thing. So basically, alternative assets like diamonds, like rare cars, they're going up like crazy. Some of the classic cars have gone up ridiculously, like several diamonds have. There's a Ferrari that's coming up for sale this summer that just 2 summers ago in Pebble Beach sold for $16 million. It's up for $25 million 2 years later. There's no stocks that do that. There's no commodities that do that. And if they were, they'd be extremely risky. These type of assets, and we've seen them recently, especially in auctions, diamond auctions with Christie's and Sotheby's, that the prices of these diamonds are hitting records, the same as classic cars are hitting records. But you don't see that with many stocks or other commodities or things like that. So all we're saying is be open-minded to alternative investments, investments that are not paper. They're not stocks. They're not bonds. You know, if you understand the real estate market, some people still make money in real estate. It's much more difficult than it was before because a lot of the markets are still unclear as to how much inventory is really available. But in the rare diamond market, again, how many diamonds like this exist? How many 2.5 carat round, brilliant yellow diamond rings exist in this world? A handful. Very few, very seldom will you ever see somebody that has a diamond similar to the one that's on the featured diamond this week. And within 5 years from now, we're going to see a situation happen that will probably never, ever happen again and we'll never have an opportunity to take advantage of, and that's the Argyle mine closing down. You know, the longer that we wait, the higher and higher these prices go. And soon, this mine is going to close down in about 4.5 years and give it 2 years for all the diamonds to be gone. And we anticipate that the price of pink diamonds could be 500% or higher than they are right now. Just imagine that. How smart would you be if you bought an asset like a certain diamond and then in 5 years that diamond went up 500%? The reason that we're saying that is going to happen and that there's a very strong possibility it will happen is because there's never ever been another mine in existence that does what the Argyle mine does. It produces 95% of all the pink diamonds in the world, which is a tiny number. If you take all of the production of pink diamonds from the Argyle mine and put it into a champagne glass, it doesn't even fill the entire glass. That's how small this market is. But they're known as the most concentrated form of wealth on earth, and these diamonds will skyrocket in price. We urge our clients to look at these diamonds where you can still get them and where they're still affordable, because within the next 10 years, the price of these diamonds can be 5 to 10 times what the prices are today, depending on the saturation of colors. So, again, Randy, I agree with you. The featured diamond this week is absolutely a showstopper. You walk into a party wearing a diamond ring like this, and everybody will be watching what's on your finger. It's that magnificent of a diamond.
RareColoredDiamonds.com. RareColoredDiamonds.com. Speak with Harold personally and privately, 1-800-432-1022, about our featured diamond of the week. And we're talking about the rarest of the rare, a museum piece. It is a 2.35 carat fancy yellow round brilliant VS1 ring. One of the things that I'm finding quite concerning, and this is information that we've put in the newsletter over the last little while, because it seems the invisible hand or government forces want us to move away from cash. And we have two stories in our free weekly newsletter. Nick Gambruno has a story called The War on Cash. One way they're waging the war on cash is to lower the threshold at which reporting a cash transaction is mandatory, or at which paying in cash is simply illegal in just the last few years. In fact, in Italy, they made cash transactions over 1,000 illegal. In Switzerland, they have proposed banning cash payments in excess of 100,000 francs. Russia banned cash transactions over 10,000. Spain banned cash transactions over 2,500. Mexico made cash payments of more than 200,000 pesos illegal. Uruguay banned cash transactions over 5,000. And France made cash transactions over 1,000 illegal, down from the previous limit of 3,000. And now we have Denmark. They want to move to a cashless society. Denmark has moved one step closer to becoming the world's first cashless society, as the government proposes scrapping the obligations for retailers to accept cash as payment. The Danish government has said that as of next year, businesses such as clothing retailers, restaurants, and gas stations should no longer be legally bound to accept cash payments. The proposal is part of a package of economic growth measures which are being released ahead of this year's Danish election. It also aims to reduce costs and increase productivity for Danish businesses. Now, a Danish financial industry lobbying group, said the change would free retailers from the cost of security and the burden of managing change and notes. Harold, for me personally, I find this very distressing, that there seems to be a movement in the world to have a cashless society, which I find quite concerning. But we've always said hard assets are real estate in your pocket. And if the government is trying to move us, and at this point there's no talk of it in Canada, but if the governments of the world are trying to move us into a cashless society, I think tangibles such as diamonds, gold, and silver are going to become even more important and more coveted in the future.
I agree with you 100%, Randy. And again, I don't know if that will ever happen in our lifetime. I highly doubt that it will. But, with so many people in the world that don't have money and can't get a credit card because they don't have the credit rating or whatever for it, I just don't understand how in the world that's going to happen. But again, a lot of things happen that we can't understand either. It's just a crazy time, and again, you read these stories and you give them credit because, again, they make sense in a certain way because so many things are happening in the world right now that we never ever thought were possible. So I just don't think that that's something that will happen in our lifetime, and again, I fear for my grandchildren and all of our grandchildren because the world for them is going to be totally different than it was for us growing up, that's for certain.
Our featured diamond of the week from rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Go to rarecoloreddiamonds.com, click on Featured Diamond of the Week. You can see video of the diamond in our free weekly newsletter, which you can get from Harold at rarecoloreddiamonds.com or by calling 1-800-432-1022. You can see a picture of the diamond. It's a 2.35 carat, fancy, yellow, round, brilliant VS1 ring. Very, very stunning. And I guess it was about, 3 weeks ago, Nicki Minaj was given that heart-shaped yellow diamond as an engagement ring, got the world's attention. Well, here's another diamond that's it's a museum piece. When you go to rarecoloreddiamonds.com, you're seeing the world's finest rare-colored diamonds, naturally fancy-colored diamonds. They are pieces that you would find in museums. If you take a look at the top reasons to invest in fancy-colored diamonds, one of the reasons their value and rarity is recognized globally and can be sold in any currency. As Harold has educated us, obviously currencies around the world have different strengths and weaknesses. And you potentially could sell your diamonds in a currency that's much stronger than the currency you currently hold the majority of your cash and get a little bonus when you sell. Also, it's the easiest, safest, and most discreet way to transport wealth in the world. Rare-colored diamonds, diamonds in general. There are no directly tied global markets to diamonds, which safeguards against market uncertainty. We don't have to worry about plunging prices when it comes to diamonds due to any financial markets. Less than 1% of all colored diamonds mined are considered investment grade, and that makes them even more rare. The diamonds that Harold is having you invest in and having you wear, they are the rarest of the rare. Colored diamonds are the most concentrated form of wealth in the world. No new mines producing naturally fancy colored diamonds have been discovered. We know that from the Bain & Company report. Colored diamond mines are shutting down without replacements, as Harold has touched on with the Argyle. A hard asset that diversifies your portfolio securely and is not affected by volatile market movements is really a must in the world that we live in today, because what you're looking for in a portfolio is non-correlated assets that move in different directions based on what's happening. Unfortunately, because of the Fed magic hand and their control of interest rates, everything seems to be moving in one direction, which is very scary. And based on a diminishing world supply, experts predict dramatic price increases in the immediate future for rare-colored diamonds. Fancy colored diamonds, the prices have never decreased in the past 30 years. We do have that Bain & Company report, Harold, that we can send out to people. We have obviously featured it in the past. They did an update here in the last 6 months. It's called Timeless Gems in a Changing World. And what they talk about is what's happening over in Asia, what's happening over in the Far East in general, India as well. They're moving away from just investing in gold and silver. They're looking at diamonds. And this is an untapped market that's very exciting for those that are investing in these diamonds today.
I agree 100%. And again, there's less and less and less diamonds around. We're noticing in our business that there's less high-quality diamonds available. there's a lot of colored diamonds around, but 90% of them are not investment quality. So you've got to really learn about any investment that you're going to go into. You don't go into it blindly just on somebody's word. That's why on our website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, we have a learning center. We have a full educational program for you to learn. We also do online seminars. We could do a seminar for you from the comfort of your own home, right on your computer. And now we can also do it on your iPhone and on your iPad. So, again, we're definitely we're current as far as all that goes, and we want our clients to be educated because we want you to make money in this particular market. It really doesn't matter what the name of the investment is. If that investment gives you what you want to accomplish. And we believe that diamonds will do that for most of our clients. They are not volatile in price. That's extremely important. They don't trade on exchanges, so you don't get the same type of moves that you get in commodities and in stocks. On top of that, again, some diamonds are so rare that the prices just go up just based on the rarity. So, again, we believe at this point that the rare diamond market is one of the great investments you can make, and it's only going to get better and better as more investments deteriorate, either because of lack of credibility or the markets just dictate that the market's going to go lower. So, again, we're very bullish on diamonds. Been in the diamond business for a long time. I'm a major collector myself, but most of my clients own diamonds. And one of the best things that I can also tell you about the diamond market is that we buy diamonds and invest in diamonds because of the currency markets. And the best example I can give you is that any diamonds that were purchased last year from our Canadian clients that bought with converted Canadian to American, they're up 25% just on the currency alone. That's how important it is to own an asset like a diamond that could be sold in British pounds or euros or Japanese yens or whatever the strongest currency is. That's why we brought, one of the major reasons why we brought this investment to you.
Connect with Harold at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Our thesis is, with the world not only financially, but geopolitically, the way it is today, you need an allocation of hard assets, diamonds, gold, and silver. RareColoredDiamonds.com. You can connect with Harold there, RareColoredDiamonds.com, or speak with him personally and privately at 1-800-432-1022. 1-800-432-1022. The featured diamond of the week is a 2.35 carat fancy yellow round brilliant VS1 ring. 2.35 carat fancy yellow round brilliant VS1 ring. You can see it at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, featured diamond of the week. You can also get a copy of it in our free weekly newsletter. Our free weekly newsletter, it's really put together in a way you can go through it on a portable device, a tablet, iPhone, iPad, your desktop, laptop. You can go through it in 5 minutes, or you can spend hours if you want. But it's really the opportunity to see the stories that Harold and I are talking about, the stories we are reading on a weekly basis, and it's to give you the financial edge to profit and protect by listening to our radio show, the money that you have in the financial markets. And it's so important. You work so hard for the money that you have. It's so important that the money you're putting aside is done so in a way that it's responsible, and you're profiting and protecting the money that you have at the same time. And that's why we advocate diamonds held for the long term. And Harold, we touched on it on the last show, and there was quite a bit of interest in the catalog we have. It's the Diamante Atelier, the Collection 2015 catalog. And we had a lot of interest in that catalog. In the catalog, we have some of the world's most beautiful diamond jewelry, museum piece type jewelry. And we had people asking for the catalog to be sent to them via a PDF file. We can send it out to you if you would like to see it. But here on this catalog, you can go through it, and you're going to have an opportunity to, it's almost like being in a museum and going through and taking a look at piece after piece of the world's greatest diamond art. And in this diamond catalog, and jewelry piece catalog, it's an opportunity for you to invest in some of what really is the world's finest jewelry pieces, Harold.
You bet. In fact, the featured diamond is from that catalog. It's from the Diamante catalog, which is our jewelry division of our umbrella of companies, and it is absolutely stunning. There's another round brilliant in there, but it is a flawless, and it's a 2.52 carat fancy vivid yellow internally flawless diamond ring that is so valuable. There's hardly any of those available in the world anywhere, and it is just absolutely amazing.
When you look at diamonds, we always talk about the 5 compelling reasons to invest. Privacy. It's private. Portable wealth. It's the portability. Obviously, it's something that can be worn. It's real estate in your pocket. Also, for estate planning, what we're finding with a lot of people that are investing in diamonds, they're investing for the long term. And you have diamonds that are museum heirloom pieces that are coming to auction now that have been held by families for 30, 40, 50 years. And the price stability, and that's something that's so important in the times that we live in. We see prices on an ongoing basis going up and down in a crazy fashion. And what we're looking for is price stability, but also great long-term growth. And with the long-term growth we're seeing in diamonds, anywhere from 10 to 15%, and depending on the diamond, even more. And Harold, I know that since we've been talking about diamonds, you brought it to our attention by launching Rare Colored Diamonds back in August of 2005. So here we are 10 years later. There have been diamonds that different clients have invested in that have gone up hundreds of percent.
You bet, and we'll continue to do so as there are less and less and less quality diamonds on the market, and the more that it's needed. Because, again, it's amazing to be able to own an asset that nobody knows that you own, that's portable and private, that never declines in value, and the rarer it gets, the more it goes up in price. Now, the fact is that diamonds are not short-term investments. You don't buy it and sell it in 3, 4, 5 years. You're defeating the purpose of doing it. What you want to do is you want to own a rare, substantial diamond and put it away. And if you don't need the money yourself, it's something you should pass on to the kids or the grandkids, because that's when it really takes on a life of its own. And we've seen that many, many times. I've expressed the story about my wife's girlfriend who inherited a 5-carat pink diamond ring from her grandmother, who bought the ring 50 years ago for $50,000, and today that diamond ring's worth upwards of $5 million. So that's what the diamond market can do for you. And again, it's probably never been more important than it is at this particular time, because the markets, in a lot of cases, don't make sense, and they're just way too risky. You need to own an asset that is stable, that doesn't decline in value, that is portable and private, that is going to make you a lot of money over the long term.
And we've had stories in the past few weeks about top-level financial executives coming out and just blatantly being honest and saying it. The stock market is completely rigged, and we'll be happy to send those stories to you. This week's featured diamond, a 2.35 carat fancy yellow round brilliant VS1 ring. See it at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Click on Featured Diamond of the Week. rarecoloreddiamonds.com, Featured Diamond of the Week. You can see video of our diamond there. And one of the things we want to touch on before we end today's show, and it really was something that caught Harold's attention, and that is, and this is from Frank Holmes of USA Funds, J.P. Morgan, according to various sources, has accumulated more than 55 million ounces of physical silver. And Harold, with about 30 seconds left, we believe obviously that's a positive for those holding hard assets.
You better believe it. I was just absolutely thrilled by it. Again, it's just very suspicious that they were able to do that after they destroyed the market and were the main culprit in there. But if they own 55 million ounces of silver and they've quietly put this away, it's for a reason, believe me. It's there. They're going to make a fortune on it, and we need to be on that track. So, again, I think that's very bullish news, and, again, it makes me enthused for the foreseeable near future.
We should say Happy Mother's Day to all the moms. Harold, thank you for another outstanding show.
It's my pleasure. I wish all the moms out there a very, very happy Mother's Day. Please have a great day. You deserve it. Be with your family and loved ones. I wish everybody a wonderful weekend and a very profitable day.
Speak with Harold about investing in hard assets. RareColoredDiamonds.com or call 1-800-432-1022. That's it. Another edition of the World Financial Report on radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall. We will talk to you next week.